Hello, everybody, and welcome back to hour three. Before we go any further, I had a fortune cookie last night, and it made me think of Rick and Erin, specifically of Cattle and Kieran.
Uh-huh.
The fortune
Uh-huh.
cookie says, "Suspicion is the signature of incompetence." So I thought that was kind of funny. Suspicion is the signature of incompetence. I was like, oh,
I got
Huh.
a fortune cookie today.
You're not paranoid if everything's actually out to get you.
sure.
I got a fortune cookie today that said, "Eat more Chinese food, you'll get more fortunes."
I once got a Chinese a
Not
a
accurate.
fortune that said "see other side for fortune," and on the other side it was blank.
Nice.
This was at a Chinese
Oh.
buffet like 3 years ago.
Your future looks pretty bleak.
You're fateless.
So Dungeons and Dragons time now.
Yeah, so
You
Sorry.
walk back into camp with news for Reich and Bellum.
Rick has preemptively drank a bottle of whiskey.
No.
En actually just kind of avoids the situation entirely and goes about removing.
And
I'm
he-
like sitting there restringing my bow.
So there wasn't any magical items beneath the floorboards. There was, in fact, a bunch of moundlings and a plant.
It
Rick
was
will just
perfect.
look. Rick will just look blankly at Kieran at this, and he said, "And
So naturally, I set everything on fire.
You knew that was how that sentence was going to end, right? Don't pretend that you didn't.
there was a part of my mind, a hopeful part." And Kieran,
Also, when I did that, everybody in the town that was affected appeared to scream. They might be dead.
Well, you're saying that you lit
Or
this
hurt.
root on fire?
Oh, the whole building's in flames. There's no
The
way.
whole building. That might spread.
I
Kieran,
don't think so.
Kieran, do you remember the reason why I was hesitant to go to the city?
No, can't recall.
Well, let me reiterate.
Is it
I'm
necessary?
worried that we might cause a disruption and maybe hint as to our true intentions
Yep.
that we're seeking to go out to the plant. But no,
I do recall that.
You see, now I'm no longer concerned about that. As you might understand, I feel as though the plant has some idea of what our intentions are. But, I think that you could do one better. I'm going to go back to the other city, right? I'm going to get 1,000 gallons of oil.
Uh-huh.
I will go and spread it out in the middle of the woods, and maybe you can spell out, "We're coming," in the oil, and then you can just light it ablaze.
No,
And then
no,
I mean,
right?
that could help.
that will
No,
serve.
right? Right?
No.
You're not setting flame to the woods. That's all I'm saying.
It might
Kieran-
help. If we just set the whole woods on fire, then
Kieran,
there's no creeper to worry about, right?
I have a friend that lives in this wood.
He was
this
very...
was not. That was sarcasm.
Okay.
By the gods, people.
Oh.
Yeah, but I thought it was a
Kieran?
good idea.
No, what you did is irrelevant. You did it, it's done, we have to deal with it. My question is, are we thinking that this plant is under the city right now? Is this it?
No, I don't think so.
You said you heard screams,
Right.
so you damaged the thing controlling them.
We know where it is.
Part of it, probably.
We have to
Sure.
follow a Siberish shot.
So,
Yeah.
so either there are roots that spread very far and wide and this plant is enormous, or it is under the city.
Are roots the only way plants spread? Or is that
My
fairly
theory-
certain not?
based on the description, is that
I'm
it was
like-
a seed planted to increase its telepathic madness web.
That's what
So
I'm
you
thinking. I think it
think
was like a
that
little bit of
the
a, like a
first
base.
plant hasn't controlled anyone, but there's a second plant that's controlling everyone?
I
No,
think we're
it's-
dealing with a very large hive mind creature that has several little bases set up to expand its territory.
Yeah, perhaps this is a lesser version that uses to amplify whatever signal it sends out to its thrall.
It could be, but we said that this thing's going to be near a shard, correct? The
Mhm.
actual plant will be near a shard?
Yeah.
We need to find that shard. Quickly, now that it knows we're coming for it.
Agreed. Also, if
and
this
Bella?
thing expands its influence and then goes to sleep for however long time, these little like base setups where it's expanding its territory might keep the hold of everybody there while it sleeps. Make sense?
Destroying it was the correct choice.
Thanks.
I agree.
See? Look at that. Look at this, right? See? I did nothing wrong.
My
We're gonna have-
question is to the DM. What is closer? The city, which I assume is, or where we were chasing, where we followed Kieran and there was a bunch of those
City.
things? Alright. So, the city's close by. We have to at least rule out that the shard's not there first. After that, we shall continue onward into the forest trying to find the shard. Where you've seen most of these creepers probably makes the most sense where we should look, as it will be very protected. However, it still could be the city, so we need to rule that out first because it's the shortest distance.
Aside from going into the city as a death wish.
I'll go into the city.
Oh, okay then.
Oh, hold on 1 second. Let's take it back a step. As a reminder from last week, you guys were told that the cave where like a Sibber shard had fallen into is where it is currently making its home, or at least where it was, or whatever. And you know that in the city they were sending people out to the woods so that you know.
They would be turned.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Returned.
we know it's not in the city.
So I mean,
Well-
is there a potential? Sure, it could have moved into the city or something, but like the likelihood is so slim. I mean, there's nothing wrong with dotting your i's and crossing your t's. But if there was ever a hey, we pressed the go button and now we're like on a time limit because we gave it a warning. I think Karen pressed the very big button with her very little hands.
Does Bellum know that it's in a cave
Stalbor.
with a Sibber shard?
He
Was that
described
related
it to you, yeah.
Okay, if that was related to him, yeah, then I would suggest actually instead of saying going back to the city, we should go find this cave. I just forgot that happened.
Your friend of the forest, the lizard folk, you said. Do you know if he knows more specifics about this, where this place is?
He's looking for it now, just the same as us.
All right, well then, we have much work to do.
I turn to Reich and say,
Little
if anyone
time
can
to
find
do
it.
that.
It's me. We should go now.
Let's.
Okay.
All right.
So you guys turn and start making your way into the woods. The first couple days are, I'm going to say, easy. But that's just you kind of getting back to where you were before. Knowing that that's where things are going to be denser. Knowing that that's going to be where the... Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Yawn. I had to fight it. Knowing that that's where things are a bit denser. That's where some of these creatures are. Can you do me a favor? All of you can roll a perception check.
This isn't overhearing passing conversations, is it?
Depends on who's passing conversations are with.
I get advantage on that. That's all I'm saying.
Creeper. So it's Stalbor that notices the creepers. They seem to be about. Before they were like always in like crunched down little, shells or like hibernated positions or whatever. Until you guys either triggered them one means or another, you came too close to them or whatever. But at one point in time, it's one of those, you guys are making your way along, and it's, Bellum's just focused on like a very direct path, and Stalbor's like, perhaps we should wait. And he's, no, really, we should wait. And like points him off to the side, and you see some of them moving. And that happens a few times when you guys realize, I'm sure you could have realized after one, but it's after a few times it's confirmed for you. Oh crap, they seem to be active. And you can't go 10 minutes of travel from leaving the site of at least one of them before you come into the site of at least one more.
I recommend
These-
you take any preparations you can. This might become a nasty fight at a moment's notice.
I look at them and say, well, I've dealt with these things in the day. Have you dealt with them in the night?
I think we have.
This is a new day, right, Scott?
Yeah,
Mm.
days
Okay,
later.
making sure.
Yep.
I thought I
So-
heard that.
Have you dealt with them in the night? And have they dealt with them in the night, Scott?
Last time they fought them at nighttime, if I remember correctly, the fleeing scene where you guys were doing like more or less a skill challenge scene, that was in the evening. Because you had like lights or whatever you had out to try to be able to see what you were doing.
I'm just curious. Are these things able to see in the dark?
I would assume so, yes.
I personally am not the best in the dark, but I think navigating in the dark might be the smartest.
Oh, got Dad's looks, but not his eyes.
Rip.
Granddad's looks, but not his eyes.
Yes, that would be smart, but there's the dangers of traveling in a swamp at night. It's the same as any other time.
For the record, they don't have eyes. Like you've never seen eyes on them.
Given that I don't believe that all of us can travel well in the dark, with the exception of myself and Stalbor.
I can travel fine in the dark.
That's right.
It's just
Greg.
the new guy.
The guy.
Yeah,
who
but I look
guided
at.
us.
Wait, is N with us right now?
Yeah, did N stay behind?
Oh.
I thought she would have, but
We
N's a
gave her
bush.
a couple different options.
N's
Yeah,
a
we
bush
did
now.
say she could.
And needed to go to the crew.
Mhm.
Make
Sure,
That's
sure.
that's
fine.
actually fine.
She's
If she wanted to go back to the ship,
Kieran
it's
is
cool.
returning to make sure
There
that
you
her
go.
ship's being repaired. Oh, yes.
There you go.
I mean,
It was actually the plan
that's
originally,
actually
right?
perfect. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Ah,
Yeah. So, that means that just he is going to be an issue. So, we either have the choice of going in the dark, which you would just have to stay close with the other with one of the other party members, and then we would just have to we would be moving slower than normal. But we also have not seen eyes on this thing, which means that darkness is probably not going to affect them that much, which means we're probably better off just going during the day when we can all see.
I'm not a fool. Bellum is whoever he is at least keen in this forest. I would like him to have eyes. For now.
I nod to that and say, well, when it seems as though times will get bad, I will cast a bit of magic, and it will help us get past these things, only when we need to actually be stealthy. Otherwise, we can trust our own abilities to get past these things.
actually, Bill, because of what they were describing this entire time, and you haven't actually killed one yet, so you haven't actually examined one yet.
I thought you said I did when what was with the beholder?
No, those were
aren't
these.
Moundlings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are.
So why don't you roll me a nature check, please?
Mm-hmm.
I'll also add, Scott, while I said that everyone should prepare, I put on the belt.
You have to attune to it.
Yeah, I mean, I put it on.
I'm just making sure.
It's gonna take a while to attune to it. Right?
Actually,
Only
just
an
takes a
hour.
short rest, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
an hour.
So, what does belt do?
You go to 21 strength.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Why do you have the belt? Why do you need the belt?
Because it's Luca's belt.
Jesus
And now
It's
Christ.
like
my belt.
it's like, if you're looking at it logically, yes, Reich would probably use it. However, Stalbo would not give Reich Lucas belt. It's just as simple
Yeah.
as that.
Exactly.
We're gonna bring it all back to the family.
Wait,
Eventually. I just haven't brought that up yet.
your intelligence and your strength is 21 or 20 and 21. Oh, that's sick.
I'm a bit
That's
of a
sick.
bad guy right now.
He's kind of a gish.
That's like you have like hill giant strength, but you're as smart as man.
Like,
Because-
he'll put it on and he'll turn to Reich and be like, "How do I look?"
Looks ridiculous. You're a scrawny little person
I also
with these like super
in, like,
huge belt.
blankets and cloaks and.
Oh, with your WWE belt.
Yeah, strapped over your shoulder.
So anyways, Ollie, I never told you what spells were of use in that book.
I haven't really looked at it yet. If you want to do it another time, that's
No,
fine.
I'll tell you right now, really quickly, because you actually said, "Oh, I'll do my preparations to make sure I can read it and whatnot." So, the spells of significance in the book, the highest level one was called Erupting Earth.
Oh, such a good spell. I like that spell. Keep going.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I was looking down and not
Wait,
at
wait,
Ollie.
yeah.
Another spell
I
that's
got to type, so I'm muted.
my apologies. The other one is Pyrotechnics. Another one in there for you was Rope Trick.
Oh, such a good spell.
Another one was Knock.
Eh.
No way, man. Starboy's gonna have a lot of fun with Knock.
Knock is good.
And the last one was Earth Tremor.
Also good.
You might not know, but there was kind of a theme in those spells.
Yeah, that's cool. I have the funds, but I'm not gonna learn them yet.
Yep. Almost all of them were
I
translated.
might change my mind if I read Erupting Earth because Will's reaction was satisfying.
I like Erupting
But I
Earth.
have filled my spell book with nearly all of my old spells.
Um,
Missing like a couple that I didn't use.
Those were all almost all transmutation spells.
Fair.
Okay. Are we good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I can finally close your pages. Let's go. Let's continue on. So all you had rolled that nature check. Unfortunately, that's not high enough for me to be able to give you anything with what they had said.
That's fine.
So you continue trekking your way forward. Now what you need to do for me to continue trekking from here, it's a survival check. However, if you are intentionally trying to avoid these creatures, as opposed to just finding what you're trying to find, trekking your way to where it's more and more dense, you're going to be rolling the survival check with disadvantage.
Disadvantage.
Still
I'm
doing
okay
well.
with that.
Still doing well.
Okay
So,
with that.
with your survival check, you continue making yourself deeper and deeper into the forest, finding it where the creatures are more and more dense. Now, when you see them, like I said, 10-minute gaps between like when you last see one and you see another. There's like 2 or 3 clumped together. Clearly less like scouts and more like scouting groups. Ones can kind of like meandering around. At the point in time, you see like a couple of them like stuck in muck, trying to fight their way through muck, but having a hard time doing so. They're very zombie-esque, these creatures. And the idea that they were once people, but somehow had their liquid sucked from them to turn them into this is a creepy idea that's not lost to all of you. But one step beyond that, there's no way that this creature ever ate this many people any time in this past 1,000 years. So the idea that there are this many of them that are who knows how many ages past they were turned into these horrible creatures is another idea that is not lost in your characters as you continue traveling further towards theoretically your own doom. Make for me another disadvantage survival check because you're trying to avoid these creatures.
Could I assist him?
Yes,
with
you
the survival
can.
check and therefore negate the disadvantage?
But he rolled too quickly.
No.
He's like, click,
No.
click.
No.
I did what the DM said.
Uh-huh. You rolled a lot of 16s. Can we take that in for a second?
You know, 16s are good.
You rolled a lot of 16s.
Okay.
Like, that's an unusual number of 16s.
I could say the same about you, only I don't see what you roll.
Oh,
So
you're welcome.
So
You're welcome
you roll
for
a lot
that.
of 16s.
I'm just saying. If you watch Mass Effect, you can see what I roll, and people die. So.
By the way, I have like 2,000 daddies, and I want to spend them on Mass Effect, but it all helps them. So if you can give me some like disadvantage stuff, I'm gonna do that.
Sure, I can come up with something.
All right,
So,
all right.
Hey.
they're about to go into a. Never mind. We're not going to talk Mass Effect right now.
right.
So, you guys are continue making your way forward and are able to continue avoiding these creatures. These keeping your distance from them as things start to get thicker and thicker, deeper and deeper into the woods. You actually know that you're now over by. Excuse me. that area, not you, Bellum, everybody else can kind of pick up. This area seems familiar. You're not sure exactly where you are, how deep into it you are, but this area does seem familiar. You can get that sense off of it. Do you wish to pursue and try to find out where you are, or do you wish to just continue following Bellum's instincts? You can, of course, speak to him about that, not just like walk in a different direction.
So what do you want to do now, Bellum? Where do you want to go?
I mean, I'd like to continue to look for it. Do you think we're close enough where I should try to find the shard, or do you think we're still far enough away where
I don't know where dragon shards fall.
I mean, I don't know where they fall. I'm just good at finding them after they've fallen.
How far away?
Rats. Never mind.
What?
How far away from me, or like that point that we were at before, Scott?
Which point are you referring to?
The point where we found all of them, like that big clusterfuck.
That's what I'm trying to say. Is this place seems familiar. It could be there, but you're just in woods.
This is where they brought us? I imagine they would have brought us into close to what would be the thick of it, so maybe.
I mean, how close do you think?
I don't know the mind of a creeper thing. I don't know how close
Well,
it
how
bring
about
us to
this?
his
Half
nest.
a
How about
mile
this?
to a mile. You had to. They were planning on defeating us here and then dragging us to its leader.
Thank you, Rick. Half mile to a
There you
mile is
go.
great. What we should do is we should continue forward, trying to be very stealthy. Once we get closer, we're talking like quarter mile to half a mile, then we should probably rely on more of my magics. But as of right now, we need to move forward stealthily, so that way, if this is the thick of things, and my knowledge of the area is correct, we can get as close to this thing as possible.
Stowball will say in Elvish at Kieran, it's like, for someone so concerned about stealth, he sure is loud.
Ha! I speak Elvish.
Well, why would
Actually,
Stowball
I
shoot
don't.
me?
I'm just messing with you.
Oh, that's too bad. I was hoping
I
you
do
just
have
give him like
one
a
extra
knowing look.
language. I just
Kieran
haven't
laughs.
picked it yet because I don't know what to pick. Gotta talk to Scott about that. It's not Elvish. It's probably Goblin.
Okay.
Anyway,
So, continuing on, you are going to pass without trace to make things a little bit more
stealthy.
a little bit easier for you as you're going forward. So, I'm going to allow, if Kieran's assisting you with the trekking, you're going to be able to roll this next stealthy with advantage.
Wait, survival or stealth?
Survival. I may have said stealth.
Sorry.
You did.
It's fake news.
Fake news.
Oh,
Damn.
wow. Wow,
Not
you
good
suck.
at all. I mean, above
Bye,
average.
friends.
Above average.
Bye.
The problem is that you were concentrating so hard on magic-y stealthy that you were not able to get you guys as far as you were gone. So one of those things where you're like circling the drain for a little while. You're trying to find this area that you were in before. You're trying to find where that clusterfuck was, but you keep missing cues. Every once in a while, it's one of those. Karen's like, "No, this isn't right. Like, we're not here anymore." And so you keep having to like readjust several times. Eventually, you're just gonna have to stop and take a short rest because you've just been trekking on for hours and hours and hours these past few days. You know what I mean? Every day, exhausting, disgusting, wet, smelly.
Speaking of wet and gross and exhausting and swampy, I'm gonna subtly control the weather around us so like it's less humid and less gross. I can stop rain from falling around us.
My character is just laying just out of reach of that. Like he's just enjoying
20
the
feet away.
environment.
Just to be
Yeah, he's
clear, climate change didn't happen because of humans. It was the half elves. The half elves did it.
Yep.
Don't you dare call them half elves.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rude.
Corvar.
Luca almost got killed because of that.
You
Okay.
racist.
True.
All right. So, anyways, so you are able to make things a little less horrible for everybody. I don't know if anybody really notices it. I imagine Stalbor is like, wow, things are like really comfortable here. This isn't that bad. Reich is, just won't complain anyways. and Bellum probably is more comfortable in the muck. So I think you just more or less make things more comfortable for yourself, and you're not complaining about it.
And
It's
that's
nice,
the point.
right?
Yep.
So I'm gonna say. So what time of day would you say it is, Scott? Like, is it
When you're
night
taking
or
this
close
no,
to
no,
it?
when you're taking this short rest, we're gonna say it's like late afternoon. Like you've got a couple more hours of travel left, because you've been traveling for many days at this point.
So I'll turn to them and say, like, listen, I might be able to use my magics to find a better way to go. It might fail, and if it does, I won't be able to use those magics again. I'll be fairly drained. So if I do this now, we'll be relied solely on just searching. Are you okay with that?
Will this give us a general direction of where we're going?
If it works, it would give us even better than that.
Yeah, do it.
All right. Here's the question, Scott. Locate object. It says an object that is familiar to you. Would a shard be familiar to me?
Or has very specific discernible features.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Perfect. Boom. You see me just like sit down, cross-legged. Hands are kind of just like doing different things. Don't really know what.
Unfortunately, it's not enough. You're not close enough for your magics to function.
Right, so
you
as,
start
like, we
you
do
start kind
that-
of like feeling out, and you using this magic, you cannot feel it within 1,000 feet of you.
Like I let out like a big like I take in a big deep breath when I start, and I do this, and I let out like a very loud like. We're not quite there. Take a couple more deep breaths, but I'm persistent and I'm willing to keep going. I look up at you, finally opening my eyes. We should search while there's daylight.
Okay.
And not.
And I'm gonna start trying to, like, maybe we see, like you said, we see creepers maybe every 10 minutes or so. I'm gonna try to see like maybe where they're coming from. Try to like.
At this point, you're kind of seeing them closer, like every 5 minutes or so. They are
Okay.
they are all over the place, and they're
Just
definitely
going every which way.
larger and larger groups. Absolutely. You guys are able to continue traveling forward for the rest of this day's travel. Trying to find out where it is that you're going, because you've already rolled an advantage and it didn't work. I'm going to allow you to do a last second disadvantage roll, and this is with Kieran helping you.
It's alright. I have confidence. I'm gonna get an 18.
Yeah, no, you got an 8. So,
Well, you kind of did get an 18 though.
I mean, it is a 10 and an 8. It is.
So
So it's one of those things where it's like the seer wasn't wrong. You just don't like what the seer told you. So, anyways, you continue traveling for the rest of the day and still aren't able to make your way there. Now, here's an issue: you're gonna have to find a place where all of you are safe for the night, because they're moving about in decent-sized numbers. Even if they don't seem to notice you guys because you're traveling far enough from them, they are about, and they could have come upon you while you're sleeping or transing.
I'm gonna turn to actually Stalbor and say, "You don't sleep, right?"
only for pleasure.
Well, perhaps you stay up and keep watch.
I've only been doing that every night, but yes, I'll do that again.
I nod, turn to like what looks like the biggest tree, climb the tree, and try to like make myself a nice little like place to lay.
This is when I really wish, like every time I'm like, Stalbor needs to buy a tent. We're always on the run. Never get a chance to buy a tent. So I guess we'd set up at the bottom of the tree, right? Right?
Wait.
Right?
DM.
Oh, I thought you were waiting for them to respond. So you can set up at the bottom of the tree, absolutely.